everybody, this is Ben Brown. I'm the WWE Archivist, and you are in the WWE Warehouse Archives. And I'm just going to give you a tour around, show you all the stuff that we keep here, and some of the cool things throughout WWE and the professional wrestling industry's history. What's going on back here behind me? Rings for SummerSlam. A couple of these rings are going to be for our tryouts in Las Vegas. So we're bringing out, I think, 4 or 5 rings total. So all the elements of the ring are going into the truck and they're on their way to SummerSlam. So if this is the actual day, I mean, this thing is a week and a half away. All of the elements right here, so to that point, all of these are rings. So you got your boards, you have your structure, you have your poles, you have all the mats. This is all the elements of the show right here. That's the primary function of this place. Do you want to talk about some kendo sticks? These look pretty unused. Generally speaking, the kendo stick gets beaten down so much that somebody at the end of the night tosses it. There's been a few that I've been like, oh yeah, please keep that. But a kendo stick just has a nice crack to it. I like it something. Right? So it hurts, but it's also, it's also makes a nice loud sound. This is one of the more hilarious things here. This is the Punjabi prison. I shouldn't say hilarious. It's horrifying, actually. The Punjabi prison is a cage match in a bamboo structure that's most affiliated with the Great Khali. Hall of Famer, the Great Khali. Great guy. And the fun thing about this is it looks like a giant bamboo structure, but it is solid steel, except for these little pieces. These are bamboo, but that is a steel structure. Another fun story about that: we hadn't used it for like a decade, right? People are coming through the warehouse and they're like, "Why are we holding on to that thing? We haven't used it in a decade." About 6 months later, they want to do something with Jinder Mahal and have it take place inside the Punjabi prison, and it went back on the road. So you never know. Yeah, 7/25/17. There it is, the Punjabi prison. All right, so the warehouse keeps going. Lots of bigger set pieces over here. There's big trussing. Back there is pretty much everybody's favorite thing in WWE. In the back, that's the SmackDown fist. The two sides of it, the thumb is back in the other room there, but it's split. It's 3 pieces. It's split on either side of the knuckle here, and then a thumb piece. And the story is that so the thing is massively heavy, right? So they'd have to, whoever was putting up the set would have to raise it up first and then build the stage under it, because if it was sitting on the stage would have collapsed. And it's this giant fist crashing through glass and fireworks coming off of it and all that. Everybody gets kicked out of SmackDown Fist, and I've taken many of pictures of fans and talent and employees in front of the fist as is something that they've always wanted to do. I don't know. Everybody, to each their own. This is Rock backwards. The Rock came out at WrestleMania 32 in Dallas in one of the most ridiculous and extravagant announcements of capacity on record. So Rock comes out. He's got a blowtorch. There's the Rock sign. Sets it on fire. Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. And then he comes to the ring to tell you that we're at 101,000 plus people, and then there's an impromptu match and all that sort of stuff, and it's a lot of fun. But that's the the torched Rock sign. A lot of this stuff, from a collectible standpoint, is wildly expensive to produce in the first place, and we're producing it for the spectacle. So it is that one item, and it is that one piece. I love that about this. I love that you can legitimately tell the story of where this thing has been by breaking it down. Like for this, you're like, okay, cool, I can see the pyro gel. I can see where he hit it with the torch right here. Like there's all these elements that give you the provenance from the archival world of kind of what something is and where it came from and why it's special. Yeah, one of one is the name of the game at WWE, and is what makes this whole thing. I mean, even back here. So even if it's one of one and we might use it multiple times, just like here's the Hell in a Cell. So Hell in a Cell, the first one was hey, Law, was the first Hell in a Cell 16 feet and this is 20?
I think that's what it was.
This is the 20-footer that was silver before and they painted it red, right?
Yes.
Yes. So that's the thing. So the one that you see Mankind go off of is early Hell in a Cell. That's 16 feet. In the mid-2000s, it goes up to being 20 feet tall. It's silver. And then like 3 or 4 years ago, anodized and painted it red. So it's still the same piece. It gets new life. It becomes part of it takes on new life. If you would have seen this thing before it went and got repaired, see all the little holes in there? There were all sorts of multiple holes because it would like shift from the match, and it's like, oh, now the pin fits here, drill a new hole. Now the pin fits here, drill a new hole. So this was a hard reset on it just to make it structurally more sound. Not that it wasn't sound, but it just to kind of give it that big reset. Unassuming, but WWE is very famous for putting people through tables at various times in its history. So these are all folding tables.
Tables like that, they are actually getting stronger and stiffer than the older ones, which is good because they last a little bit longer. I mean, for our use, that might not be the best thing for the talent, knowing that it's a little bit more difficult to go through.
This is La Bosse.
Not wearing any WWE whatsoever, because I didn't know it was going to be on camera, but I can.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever.
He's fine. And La is out here at the warehouse, much more often than I am. Live event production / everything. Law's been working here at WWE for 25 or so
21,
years?
22.
21,
I think this is
22
year 22. I don't know. COVID kind of got lost.
Yeah, we all are coming.
No, I did 5 years of TV doing props and special effects, and then the rest doing live event production work. I'm the senior production manager for WWE.
Yes.
But I've always been a local person, so the companies use me to take care of the warehouse and send things in and out in addition to my other duties. I'm going to go back to my truck.
So go back to your truck. Thanks, Law. See ya. So I'll get stuff back from the road. This is an active warehouse. I mean, like you'll hear we're loading out rings for SummerSlam back here. And then if things aren't being used anymore, they'll come back here for me to sort and to get kind of in their appropriate place or use again. This will probably go back out again in a month and a half. This is a Gobbledy Gooker costume. Gobbledy Gooker is a notoriously bad but beloved turkey. The whole lead up to Survivor Series 9 years, there's this giant egg, it's going to crack, and who's inside? It also happened to be the first appearance of The Undertaker at Survivor Series 90. So you had both a dud and one of the greatest legends of all time on the same night. Out of that egg was a turkey who kind of danced around in the ring and was quickly forgotten, but we keep resurfacing over and over again. This is a more recent piece of memorabilia. This picture was from our Money in the Bank ladder match in 2020, which was an unconventional Money in the Bank ladder match. It took place at WWE headquarters at the Tower. So they go into the room and feel like maybe did Carmella get hit with this by somebody else? No, Carmella hit Dana Brooke with this. That's right. So fun thing. I mean, a little bit of a trade secret here. You got a little bit of a bullseye, but and all the makeup on the back. It's kind of incredible. So actively collect here. It's not just historical. It's not just 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I will call people who are at the shows now and say like, hey man, could you please put that aside? Like, I think that's important. For example, the other week WWE, I always say WWE came back to tour in front, came back in front of a live audience. Edge was using the little piece of a chair to choke, to not choke, but to like put it between the mouths of Roman Reigns, Jimmy, and Jey Uso. And the one on the SmackDown where we came back in front of a live audience kind of got bent. So I was like, I'd like to keep that. It's WWE returning to the live audience. It's Edge, it's Roman. It's just a bent piece of steel from a chair, but some of these things just kind of happen naturally. All the rest of them didn't get bent like that. I was just like, because it's bent, because it has like, you can kind of tell what it is, I thought that would be important to keep. And keep going. Kind of moving into our set zone. A lot of the WrestleMania signage and that sort of stuff, you know, like if you've ever seen WrestleMania, it's just full of like theatrics and giant signs and giant stages and set pieces. And this is actually a fun little thing right here. So sitting back in the corner is a Brahma Bull. I don't know what you want to call it. It's similar to the Undertaker symbol that Undertaker put up his sacrifices or whatever on. You know, Stephanie McMahon was on it. I think Midian was on it at some point. You know, hanging above the ring or above the stage. This is the Rock version of it. He strapped Paul Bearer to it at one point, and the thing came down. There's a little holes in the nostril. The thing came down with smoke piping through the nostrils. And it was super fun. By the way, so speaking of one of one, also one-time use. This one time you saw it on TV, and that's how hot The Rock was, that they're going to go out of their way for a Monday Night Raw to build this thing, paint it, do the whole special effects and the whole deal, just to show up one time. Pretty cool. I love that sort of stuff. I mean, it's the dedication to the craft too. It's the idea of like, you know, hey, how do we get this done? And that's, again, another exciting thing about working here is that it's like, we have an idea, how do we get it done, you know, and fast. WrestleMania signs are plentiful here. That one would be WrestleMania 35. Those are the signs that, you know, you famously, when a talent or superstar wins the Royal Rumble, they point to the WrestleMania sign, like, I'm going to WrestleMania. That's the one that would be hanging inside the arena. Other big sets. This one hasn't been seen in a very long time. This is our Buried Alive set. So two things. I never wear anybody else's gear. I will never put on a robe, a singlet, anything like that. I did not bleed, sweat, or cry or whatever in this thing. I have no right to do it. It's just my personal opinion. Anybody else can do whatever they want. I wouldn't mind riding this bike. I mean, that's no big deal. But it's not as fast as the scooters I have over here. So that's why I don't ride the bike. Yeah, so our wall of coffins is one of the things that, like, people are always a little bit either spooked or in awe of. I would say that there's at least 20% of this warehouse has to do with the Undertaker. Undertaker is by far the most successful character in WWE history, right? The fact that you have somebody who is an undead, creature of the dark that like had a 30+ year career as that is unbelievable. All of these are coffins from like the ones that all look the same are from WrestleMania 30, and then we use them again like in Saudi Arabia a while back. I was a druid for that in 110 degree heat with a torch. You know what? I'm saying that wrong. They're not coffins. These are caskets. Coffins are the ones that have that sort of shape to them. It's okay. Very few people know that anyhow. So I learned it while here. I was like, oh, well, cool. There's a difference between caskets and coffins. Do tell. To me, this is one of the more iconic of the caskets. I was watching this the other day. I think Mankind comes out of this thing at some point. There's a giveaway on a SummerSlam, actually. There's a SummerSlam giveaway, and there's fans that come out of the audience and they pick a little tab, and whether it opens up the casket, you win $1 million. Nobody wins it. Just want to see inside of a casket for a second. This one's not super comfortable. Just FYI. The ones that are like these big deep ones. This one says Heart Attack Tour. One over here I think is Mark Henry. Those are made custom for the shows. Those are made custom for WWE, and the padding is nice and comfortable. No big weird springs. I guess I don't want to talk about dead bodies too much. I'm sorry. I should. I do, but I don't. I have no interest. If I find like a pile of 8x10s or whatever, like no interest in completely giving it up or throwing it away, because it's all part of the history. And I mean, WWE is an absolute juggernaut when it comes to merchandising and licensing and all that sort of stuff. So if I kept like every licensed toy of all time, I'd have a whole other 100,000 square foot warehouse. Again, to the point, everything's a thing. You've got Attitude Era oil cans from the backstage set. I like stuff that has what I'm going to call debris on it. So when we do, WWE does like old school Raw, it's kind of this blue look, right? So you see this nice blue mats, the blue stairs, right? So you'll have your old logo, and sometimes you'll do this neon entrance. So at the very top there, so there's our nice new blue ones. At the very top are the old blue ones. And you just see that shade of blue is a little bit more worn, and those things are covered in debris from being worked on and being used and all that sort of stuff. One of these days, like I have this vision of a room in a museum where I have those down and like a piece of plexi over it, so you can like have people walk on it but not walk on it. It's just cool because it's just, it's everybody has touched those. Everybody has taken a bump on the outside and sweat and bled and cried on these things. The things I get a kick out of, I don't know. Somebody else said this the other day, and I've said it before, and I love this as like what makes WWE so interesting and what makes it so much fun to work at. So you can have a harebrained idea. You say, what if this person did this and then this happened and then boom. And you could legitimately see that on national television that night. Like, I could come up with something and go, man, wouldn't it be cool? And you could see that on air. I don't think that really exists in any other form of entertainment. It's live, right? And I mean, it's just this fluid show that can change up to the last minute, and anything can happen in it. And that's what keeps you coming back. Like, that's what keeps me motivated to work here. That like you can have this fun idea and see it live.